Chris, best boxing knockout that you can think of. I got one in my head.
Do you remember when, God, there's so many, but do you remember when Sergio Martinez fought Paul Williams, was his name? I think it was at 154 or 160. It was maybe 10 years ago or something.
Yeah.
Martinez was a guy that sort of came to prominence late in his career. He fought around Europe. I think he was from Argentina or something. And then Paul Williams was a guy that was bouncing between 160 and 147, and he was called himself the most feared fighter and whatever. And great fighter. But in their rematch, Martinez knocked him out in just that's an all-timer. He was asleep in the air. One of those kind.
Oh, shit.
Let's see if we can see it.
Oh yeah, this is it.
Good left hand.
Oh my God.
Williams.
That was 3 seconds?
Right
Not
hand.
even?
Williams through the left, Williams down.
Well, that was a couple rounds into the fight.
You could hear that.
Yeah.
Oh.
And by the way, this is exactly what these are two elite level, the two best guys, probably more, top 5, whatever, at that moment in time, fighting each other.
Yeah.
And it's great. Yeah, you just never know.
That was a good call. That was very satisfying. All right, I'm going back to my Roberto Duran and Thomas Hearns, which Max Pat always looks up about.
Oh, did you watch that show?
The three. Not the three.
The Champions or the Kings or what was it called? Yeah, on Showtime.
Yeah,
amazing,
the
right?
shit out of that.
Yeah, how good was that?
All boxing stuff is great because, first off, it's never a story of. His dad was a rich industrialist. He grew up in the Bel Air suburb.
Right.
And it's no, it's always sharecroppers and mom is a prostitute.
Well, right,
and
even Sugar Ray Leonard, who sort of was maybe the Floyd Mayweather of his era, and maybe considered out of that batch to be came out of the Olympics. He had the big deal and all that stuff. I mean, he had total hard scrabble upbringing too.
It's hard scrabble upbringing. It's, violence. It's perseverance. It's overcoming everything. And at some point, it's Don King or shady promoters getting involved, and now there's intrigue and larceny.
Only exception, Adonis Creed. In the movie, Apollo Creed signed, he grew up rich.
Yeah, there you go.
Well, he still had a hard scrabble beginning. Yeah, until she plucked him out of the boys' home.
The winner of that whole, the round robin between those guys really was Hagler. He was the only guy in that whole thing that ended. He left when he wanted to. He made a bunch of money. He was the king of the castle, and then he walked off into the sunset. And all the rest of them fought way too long and paid a pretty huge price for it.
Yeah, and he just died 4 months ago. Hagler.
He was the biggest movie star.
And all the rest of them are still alive. So maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I'm wrong with that.
He was a huge movie star in Italy.
I know. He said, I'm going to Italy. He turned down, the rematch to fight Sugar Ray or some of those paydays. He probably had 5 big paydays looming out there back, when a $25 million fight was, you could buy 80 houses in the valley for that, turn his back on big fucking money.
Yeah.
All right. You got that, Max Manis? Or I'll just show it. I love it. It's a textbook. It's textbook boxing because he throws a jab down to the belly.
What
and then he comes over the top.
What weight class?
I think they're 154, maybe right here.
And Duran had that iron jaw. Nobody knocks out Roberto Duran either.
Not like that.
And he gives the 2 quick touches to downstairs. Down, boom. Oh. That's textbook. That is textbook. 2, pop. That's why that guy was so fucking dangerous. Because he was so long. He was 6'2". He was 140 pounds, 150. I mean, he probably fought at 144 at some point.
It made me love Tommy Hearns even more. I love him, but I didn't know anything about his backstory or all that, the stuff going on kind of around his career. It's great.
Crazy. It's all crazy. It has to be. It's boxing. All right. Sorry, Gina. Go ahead.
Well, 90-year-old William Shatner is back, safe and sound on terra firma. He officially became the oldest person in space as Blue Origin successfully launched the Star Trek legend and 3 others to the edge of space. The 10-minute flight went off without a hitch, landed smoothly in West Texas. Shatner was interviewed right when they touched down, and I think it's Jeff Bezos standing next to him. He called the experience indescribable. He went on to say this.
You look down, there's the blue down there. And the black up there, and it's just, there is Mother and Earth and comfort, and is there death? I don't know. Is that death? Is that the way death is? Whoop, and it's gone. Jesus. It was so moving to me. This experience has been something unbelievable.
Shatner's head keeps getting bigger, and Bezos' head keeps getting smaller.
They can't put a head on
I don't think they should be next to each other because they're stealing each other's head size.
It looks like he got out of the capsule. Just head swelling.
Does Bezos already look bored of space travel?
He looked bored of William Shatner.
That's true.
Yeah. But
that's true.
You know.
I mean, what is it? His third time now? This is old hat for him?
Did Bezos one up with him?
I think so.
I was unclear.
He looked like he was rethinking that decision right there.
The rocket is scary because
Venus rocket.
I'm old school. It's got no fins on it. Like it feels, and I'm sure everything's done with computers for sure, but old schools, like you used to have some stabilizing shit or the stuff would start turning or whatever. But this is just smooth.
It looks like a fourth grader's drawing of a penis.
Right.
Flames coming out of it.
I'm telling you, look, we as human beings have like an infinite capacity to sort of been there, done that, and get over shit really fast. By the time any of us get to outer space, it's going to be big fucking whoop.
That makes me
It'll be big whoop.
Yeah.
No one will care anymore.
You're right.
You have no stories. No one will be interested. It's not going to be a thing.
Well, at least now we know it's safe for everyone if a 90-year-old man can do it and be totally unscathed.
Yeah, or... maybe 90's the time to roll the dice.
Right.
You know what I mean? You don't do that like the other guy just did it at 18, right? A lot to lose.
I'm going to throw this out there without any prep so you guys think off the top of your heads. Is Shatner the most ironically loved celebrity?
What do you mean ironically?
Ironically, Gina, take the spirit which is intended. I think a lot of people that go to see fucking movies in cemeteries love William Shatner. He doesn't do anything well. He's not a good actor. He's a joke of a singer, right? He's like Rocket Man. Like he's not a real
Boston Legal.
He's not a real He's not a real actor. He's not a real singer. He's a personality, but even that's kind of a parody.
Is he in
but
on the
everyone
gag?
loves him.
Or does he convince himself that he's beloved?
I've had some interactions with the man. Mm-hmm. Quite a few, actually.
I think he's universally beloved. Except for people who work with him.
And his ex-wife. But look, one time I was asked to attend some event, 10, 15 years ago, some, I don't know, network thing and big to-do, black time, whatever. And Shatner was going to be the master of ceremonies. And, back then he was probably 75 or whatever. And I was like, oh, Shatner. But he went out and crushed it. Like he got in front of that crowd.
Oh,
he
he's
got
a
that
professional.
mic. Yeah, but he was funny.
showman.
He was funny. He was engaging. He didn't miss a beat. Like, I remember being impressed. Because I'll tell you, it's like listening to an album versus watching a band play. Like seeing someone on stage with the mic in front of the crowd, kind of spinning plates a little bit because he's bringing this guy on and talking up that guy and working a couple of jokes in between. So I was really impressed. I agree. There's an element of we don't know what he does, and he's not a great anything per se. But then maybe that makes him the ultimate something.
Yeah, he's
because
a personality.
He's
himself.
Yeah, it's I always say they always have that list every year. Most overpaid Hollywood stars.
That's a list to be on.
Tom Cruise made $57 million. His film's only grossed 28 or whatever. I'm like, that guy's the biggest winner I've ever met in my life. He got so overpaid. So I mean, he is that's not the loser list to me. That's the winner list, and maybe Shatner is the winner list.
Yeah,
so he's had this crazy career.
Yeah.
Everyone knows him.
Everyone knows him. He's a household name.
He's moving, hold your ears, Gina, but he's starting to move into Dolly Parton area and that we just know him and we love him. But
Dolly's got the she's got the goods. Everyone can admit that is a Hasselhoff type. Well, I don't think is as love to Shatner, but that's
bite your tongue. I don't know.
How does a guy when your career is at that point? How do you get paid? If you're Shatner, you're not really a working actor, or maybe he is. I don't follow his career, but do you just get paid for public appearances,
conventions and syndication,
and travel, website commercials?
Right.
Hi, welcome to Delta Airlines. I'm William Shatner.
No, Priceline. He was the Priceline guy.
Right.
That's
and
right.
he would,
so he's doing just fine.
Probably.
I ran into him somewhere. He invited me to sit at his table and like a charity. See, he is that guy. Like you can't fake it for 90 years.
And doesn't he show horses around here?
He's a big horse.
Big horse guy. He's right up the street. Like went to the charity event there. Right. It does his. Yeah, I'm sure he's 90. Probably has 15 projects working right now. Oh, there we are. Back
and he doesn't
right here
look,
in the studio.
I mean, I know we're looking at an older picture. He doesn't look 90. By 90, you should be very frail, you know?
Or dead.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah, okay. Well, terrible segue, but...
Yeah. I mean, my dad's 90. I can show you what 90 looks like.
Look at the difference.
Old. Yeah.
A coroner has weighed in on Gabby Petito's death and said it was caused by strangulation. That's the finding of the coroner in Wyoming. He made his report public on Tuesday. Dr. Brent Blue also said that her body had been in the wilderness for 3 to 4 weeks prior to discovering it on September 19th. So that puts her death at the end of August. Her fiance, Brian Laundrie, returned home to Florida on September 1st. He's disappeared and has been on the run since the Petito family reported her missing on September 11th.
Well, he's under the garden.
Well, yeah, he's in the bunker under the planter. Yeah. That's what the internet.
Chris, where do you think he is? Think he's alive?
Honestly, listening to you talk about that, I don't know anything about it.
You lucky son of a bitch.
Somehow I've missed that one. I don't know. We all live in our little information silos, and that story hasn't been in mine, I guess.
This pretty young blonde girl and her fiance were on a van life, hashtag van life tour, and then she suddenly went missing, and now he's gone. Yeah.
Okay, so he took off.
Yeah. He is. And Dog the Bounty Hunter was hot on his tail, but I think he might have rolled an ankle, so he's out. So
I do know that my friend just sent me an article, a link to an article that said Dog the Bounty Hunter caught that guy alive, and it's one of those things where you click on it and that guy pops up. With the giant.
Oh, the black dude with the schlong. Yeah.
I guess we're on a podcast so we can say giant dick, right?
Yeah, he got rickrolled a little bit.
Yeah, exactly. So I fell for that. That was just this morning. So really, I should have looked further into that story.
I was
put off the trail.
I thought it was some naked guy.
Two girls and a cup to me. That was
Schimmel.
Bob Schimmel. Yeah, Robert Schimmel. Great comedian. Passed away. Yeah.
His final act of defiance.
He opened his computer. He's like, I got a killer video. Seen this one? I was like, I don't know.
This is the radio days, like 07. Yeah, one was making it around.
Hit the thing, and it was the two girls shitting into the cup.
Whatever happened to them? You think they're okay?
Schimmel is dead, and those two girls live on.
Yeah, right. You think they're alive? I hope so.
There is no God, yeah.
Well, speaking of hope they're okay.
Speaking of the cup, I mean, it's no Dave Grohl throne, but...
Yeah.
That fetch a penny.
A pretty penny.
You could make some money.
I think you're right.
There'd be some guys had some extra Bitcoin laying around and definitely invest in that.
Ever tell you I ran into Schimmel outside the Cedars Cancer Center?
I don't know. Tell us.
This was early in my treatment. This was 2009, and he died in a car wreck.
Right. Yeah.
Which is sad and ironic, but I saw him right before then, and he was just gotten whatever radiation or whatever it was, and I just got whatever it was, and I was like, hey, Buck, you're not supposed to talk to people, especially celebrities, at these things. But we knew him from the radio. He came on the radio show a dozen times. He was a regular. He always brought fruit plates for the morning show. And it was like, hey, man, how you doing? Okay, how you doing? We kind of connected over that. It was a nice moment.
He's a sweet guy. Funny if people like stand-up and want to go back and look up some of Robert Schimmel's stuff. Really funny stuff.
Am I remembering this right? And boy, I hope I am, because this is a weird thing to lie about. Didn't he start dating his daughter's friend?
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Okay.
I thought they got married. They were for sure involved.
His wife was cheating on him, and then he ended up dating his daughter's friend.
Wow.
Yeah.
Good for him.
Yeah, got a lot of living in.
Yeah. So as we record this just happened, so I'm sure there'll be news coming out, hopefully, that everything's fine. But TMZ reports that Howie Mandel passed out over here at Starbucks in Woodland Hills, which isn't far from where we're recording this. Folks told TMZ that Howie was there with his wife and friends. He suddenly just passed out. He fell over, laid out on this cement bench.
Oh,
paramedics were there, and he reportedly was kind of up at that point, rushed to the hospital in Tarzana. Seems that he was able to sit up by the time the fire department arrived. They think it could have been a low blood sugar thing, but they're going to check him now.
It was NSNG, right?
Yeah, I think so.
Well, because Vinny trained him.
Yeah, Vinny trained him. Yeah, I mean, we know.
Maybe
Great
Vinny
guy.
knows. Yeah.
Hope he's fine. 'cause
Yeah.
he's
I
such a
think
good
Taylor
dude.
lives in his old house.
Oh, really?
If I'm not mistaken.
Really?
Yeah, I think like Howie
is
Mandel
so
lived there at one
random.
point. Maybe Kenny Rogers before him. Yeah.
What a list.
I know, right?
That's
Damn.
a cool
Good
thing.
house.
It's a cool thing about sweet houses in LA. They got a
Yeah.
history.
They have a
man.
good story.
Yeah.
You just doxed Taylor, didn't you? Because people can find out. A lot of doxing going
We're
on.
gonna
in this
triangulate
show.
this guy.
Sorry,
Well,
buddy.
Nobody's safe.
Howie is very much into residential real estate, and he builds houses and buys houses and like flips houses, and always has a project going on. It's not something you'd think about with him, but he's
Right.
deep into it. Because was an ex-builder, so every time we hang out, he's always talking about this project and that project. So. Probably up in the hills somewhere, not too far from here. But
Yeah.
he lives there. He builds stuff. He moves out. He sells it. He flips it. I mean, he built I don't know $8 million house in Malibu that was across the street from my house. Took him
Wasn't
like-
worth it.
Took him like 3 years to build it. Then had a super shitty neighbor and just sold it. Like barely even went there.
For somebody who doesn't like to leave the house, he has a lot of houses.
Yeah, there's a lot of houses. You're right, but maybe he wants to just hop from house to house
Right, without ever going
Eventually.
outside.
like
Tell him every
like
house.
a mafia kingpin.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yes.
Safe houses.
Was
Yes.
he a contractor too?
No.
Prior to
No,
Howie? No.
he's Jewish. They don't. They're not. They wouldn't.
Chris, please.
Yeah.
You're embarrassing yourself.
You're trying to get us all canceled now.
No, he just. I guess it's just a passion of his.
No?
Oh, he likes making money. Oh, he's Jewish. Yeah, that's what I meant. Wrong tone.
He meant Canadian.
Yes, he likes. He does like some commercial stuff. He's got his tentacles out
Yeah.
there. Yeah, and he's also a guy probably hasn't missed a day of work since his like
Oh, yeah.
19th birthday. Like that guy's just been working like nonstop.
Yeah.
When's the last time Howie Mandel was
Took a month off.
Yeah, had some downtime.
Right. DC Comics.
Well, actually now. but,
today,
but we wish
specifically.
him well.
Yeah. DC Comics has announced that one of its heroes is taking a bold new direction and coming out as bisexual. That's according to USA Today. DC Comics confirmed in a statement this week that John Kent, the Superman of Earth, will become romantically involved with reporter Jay Nakamura in an upcoming issue of the series Superman, Son of Kal-El.
Not jackable.
So this isn't Clark Kent. This
You
is their
realize these
son.
assholes forced me to have these conversations as an adult. Max Bad, it wasn't me, you, and Mike in Nashville about 10 hours ago. I'm
We're
like,
going deep into this.
Superman's, wait, he doesn't have a son, does he?
With
His
Lois
son's
Lane.
gay?
Well, yeah, and his son is now the new Superman.
Yeah.
He absorbed the
Wait,
power.
so what happened to old Superman?
Well, there's some versions where he gets killed and he comes
Was
back
he
to life and
gay?
things. No, actual Superman or the original
Superman was
gay.
straight Superman?
And new Superman, John Kent, he's bisexual.
He's bi.
He's not gay.
Well, that's gay with a publicist, son. I mean, let's call it what it is. So he's bi.
Yeah.
Oh, but wait a minute. This is Marvel
DC.
or DC?
Come on, bro.
Oh,
Didn't they just out this guy? Like, that's not kosher.
Correct. They added a fake character. Yeah, they did.
Well, outing is outing, Gina.
Okay, I
I'm
didn't realize
surprised
that.
you, of all
That's
people,
true. I'm
who are
pretty
down
woke.
with the cause.
Yeah.
You don't just out characters, people,
Fictitious images.
Let him
Right.
say what
No.
he'll let him do it
Yep.
on screen.
Thank you for teaching me.
Let's not out him.
Yeah,
It's not
you
the
know, you're right. I have a lot to
Kryptonian
learn.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So DC confirmed that following a scene where Superman mentally and physically burns out from trying to save everyone that he can, Jay is there to care for the Man of Steel.
You know, it's interesting.
So he's also got anxiety?
Yeah,
generalized
where they're
anxiety
headed with
disorder.
that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's interesting that if you take a look at the first part of the superhero, like if you made it into a graph, like we were talking with heavyweight fighters, the very first part is taking these characters and making them superhuman.
Right.
That's all we worked on. It's
Right.
like, how much steel can he bend and
Right.
how many bullets can his chest
More
absorb?
powerful
or
than a
something.
locomotive.
And now he's in his fucking safe room beating off. Like now he's got generalized anxiety.
He's just like us.
He's just like us. Now we're working overtime to make these people like us. What do we need you for if you're like us? The whole point is you're not like us.
That's a good point.
You don't cry. Bullets don't hurt you.
You don't need to take refuge in the arms of another man.
Can stop a speeding freight train.
Yeah.
That's all shit we can't do. Sitting around depressed. We got that.
That's why we're reading this.
My mom can pull that shit off. She's been doing it for 50 years.
Yeah.
It's easy.
Yeah.
Anyone could do it. Stop being human.
It's a very
good
good
back
point.
to being superhuman.
This isn't just them, though. There's this fantastic DreamWorks show on Netflix called Kipo that little guy at home was obsessed with. And there were some questions because one of the boys starts kissing another boy and left
Time to throw the TV away.
Left that to stepmom to the field. So that was fun for me.
Nice.
It was actually very. You make things as cash as possible. Like some boys love boys, some girls love girls. It's all good, and then they go back on, watch the show.
Yeah.
Don't get all uncomfortable. Don't get all
right. So
uptight.
when is this coming out?
It'll be out next month.
I'm trying to think,
grab one?
and it'll be a comic book.
Yeah.
Or it'll be a film.
Comic book for now. Probably dipping their toe in to see the reaction.
All right. All right.
Jay
It's all
Nakamura.
progress.
Yeah.
Who's the photographer? What is he? Reporter?
Jay
Yeah.
Nakamura. Unclear what he does for work.
All right.
Sucks out the government teat, probably.
Oh, reporter. I'm sorry. He is a reporter. So he probably is the only one that's allowed to get close to the new Superman.
There should be a whole like gay bashing thing where a couple guys pull up in pickup trucks, like a couple of townies, hey, queer bait, and he fucking thrashes them. You know what I mean?
That would be great.
And then rapes them to really to send a message.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Drive the message home.
They're really driving it home.
Isn't that an old Louis C.K. bit? Where he says,
I don't know.
rape is never funny or rape is never okay unless you're raping the rapist.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
I don't know. Can we still talk about Louis C.K.? It's been a while.
Yeah.
Okay.
Good.
Smash Mouth news. Lead singer Steve Harwell no longer a part of the band. The New York Post reports
Well,
that
there's no Smash Mouth, if you ask me.
I agree. The 54-year-old is retiring from music to deal with some physical and mental health issues. This all got announced after this video was uploaded, went viral on October 9th. The band performed at the Big Sip Festival in upstate New York, where Harwell slurred his words. He threatened the audience. He seemed to give the Nazi salute. The video was taken by a TikTok user who goes by Haley. She called it chaotic. A lot of this is just sort of visual, but the end has a little bit
Chris,
of...
will Steve sit in with you guys at the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame?
That would be
Not that I know of. Not that
Okay.
No, I did hear something about this, but I haven't seen this video.
Okay, this is just the end of the video where there's some
It's
audio.
my fucking birthday.
That's what this
So
girl
was it
is
his
yelling.
birthday?
No,
Oh, that's what she's yelling.
He kind of goes to the side and lets a girl take over, and that's what she's yelling. So here we go. He's just kind of disassociated.
Kill your whole family, I swear to God. You talk this stuff about one dick, I never leave the house. Quiet now, I'm the singer.
Seems like he's had a few.
Yeah.
He's
Is that what
holding
it
a
is?
beer. He's only a tall boy.
So is he announcing his retirement? Is this like a PR face saving maneuver?
I think they said he's dealing with some physical and mental health issues, and he needs to take a step back and work on those.
He's a nice guy, at least when I knew him way back. There were certain guys, there were certain bands that were like good knock around, like the Boss Tones and Smash Mouth,
Boss Tones, of
Sugar
course.
Ray. They're always like up to hang out after the show and have a beer. Like there are certain bands they didn't even feel like bands or celebrities or
Yeah,
anything.
it's
Like as soon as
cool.
they got off stage, there were just some dudes from Orange County that wanted to hang out and have fun. He was kind of that way.
So what happened? What was like? What's the hubbub about? Because that didn't look like
That show
There was a
didn't
lot
go
there.
very well.
They
There was a
finished
little.
the county fair and everyone went nuts.
There was a dusting of like Sieg Heiling and threatening the crowd, and the publicist got into the paper and said, I think he's going to step back for a
Sieg
while.
Heiling, I would think would be pretty hard to walk back in this day and age.
This day and age, yeah.
I mean, it didn't
I
seem,
mean, any day and
it didn't
age, but
seem
yeah.
sincere. I mean, he was clearly, I think he's rolling blank tape,
Yeah.
but he's still going to get punished for it.
Yeah.
You guys,
You're supposed to
in the-
know by that age, like Sieg Heiling. You can't,
That's not the way to
you really
go.
can't get away with
Who
it.
Right.
in the band likes to tilt a few after the gig? I know
Or
Pat.
before.
I've had a few drinks with Pat, so I know
Yeah,
Pat.
Pat will have a couple of drinks here and there. I don't think he drinks that much these days. I don't know. Here's the thing. I got sober a long time ago. Mm-hmm. So by the time that's all going on, I'm like in my hotel room, getting a bathrobe, like eating room service, reading a book or something. You know what I mean? Like I'm not at that party anymore. So
is there any some guys will have a couple of pops before they hit the stage, kind of take the edge off a little bit.
Band prayer, I believe that's called. Yeah. Yeah. That still goes on.
It doesn't. Now look, it's a kind of a fine line, and I can tell you as a guy who spent a lot of time on stage, sometimes greasing the skids a little bit kind of actually works.
Yeah.
It can be medicinal. It can have a positive, but then once you cross over
the threshold,
there's no coming back.
It's hard to get that one back. Yeah.
Yeah, it's an interesting thing, like I go out and do my solo stuff and so I'm not like a slick front man or whatever and not super well versed in it and kind of started doing it late. But like I always, when I see people have some kind of public fuck up like that. Well, I mean, I didn't see that whole thing, so maybe it gets a lot more offensive than what I just saw. But there is something very odd and unnatural about standing on stage with a microphone in your hand and talking into it. And sometimes, I mean, you've probably done this too, like shit comes out of your mouth that you're like, what the fuck am I talking about? Like, like you're trying to make one point and you wind up accidentally kind of making the exact opposite point. And so, you know what I mean? Like, I try to be kind of like compassionate when I see people fall on their face with that because it's hard and it's kind of unnatural in a weird way.
And I think a slip of the tongue is one thing, but when you're just checked out,
Right.
maybe it's time to take a break.
Yeah, well,
and I want to be clear. I'm not trying to make excuses for anybody doing anything shitty. I'm just saying, like, there's been plenty of times when I've been unbelievably inarticulate and just blow it, and you're just like, what the fuck am I doing right now? I don't know what I'm talking about.
We're not familiar.
I've been there.
Yeah.
Brian's you got to bang your grandma. Stuff comes out. Trying to make a point.
He doesn't, and then he walks it back.
All right, let's do one more, Gina Grad.
You got it. Well, let's stay with music. Dwayne Johnson is a rapper now. The star drops a few bars at the end of the new Tech 9 track, Face Off. 49-year-old actor made what he calls his historic rap debut with a feature in Tech 9's song. The song is part of Tech 9's newest album called Asinine with a 9. In an interview with Variety, Johnson said he doesn't see a long-term career in rap, but he'd think about it if that's what they want to do. So he's rapping, but I thought, you know what? Technically, if you have kids or if you're into musicals or whatever, this is not the first time that Dwayne Johnson has rapped in a song.
Oh.
We'll play that little. Yeah, Brian knows what I'm about to say.
I just said the same thing to Kaylin just now.
Oh, really? Oh, no. This is the story from 2 days ago.
No. I feel like
you did? Oh, that's
for.
funny. Yeah. This is not his first time.
I just tweeted this or sent this exact same thing to Kaylin. Like, are ready to play it?
Yeah, so we know he can do it.
What if The Rock wants to sit in with the band and do a little rapping?
I mean, who's going to tell him no?
Not me.
You know what I mean? Yeah, no.
Not your Pat.
I'll let Dave tell him.
Dave can tell him. All right, let's bring it home, Gina Grad.
You got it. I'm Gina Grad, and that's the news.
He's Jewish. Gina Grad. That was the news with Gina Grad.
Podcast Walking the Floor with Chris Shiflett, everybody. Yeah. And boy, what a bevy of great guests and so much variety. And the Foo Fighters album, Medicine at Midnight, it's released. It's out. It's their 10th album. And also, of course, Hall of Fame we'll be watching because that is going to be, it must be very satisfying because you're going to see legends playing your music, playing the music you play every night, right?
I don't know if I don't know how they're doing it this year. If there's going to be like one of those like tribute jams or not. Yeah, I'm not really sure.
It's going to be,
but it's going to be. I mean, yeah, it's like it's. I can't even say it's like something like a dream come true because who the fuck dreams about that? Oh. You know what I mean? Never expected that in a million years.
Why don't you be the one band member who won't show up? There's always one, right?
Mysterious.
Yeah, I don't think that would go. That'd be awfully awkward at like the next band practice.
True.
Where the fuck were you, dude?
Well, rules are rules. It has to be one band member who doesn't make it, and we can all sort of speculate.
Yeah.
You know,
right? And it's not going to be me. I assure you.
Or just set a guitar up on a stand to represent him.
Right.
Yeah.
All right.
Well, there's a couple of Foo Fighters in the early days that I'm assuming are not going to be there, but I don't know.
Oh, how many Foo Fighters were there before you? I mean, you're 99.
Well, Yeah, I'm 99, so there was a different drummer, before Taylor on that first album cycle, and then there was another guitar player because Pat was in it from the beginning, but then he left for a minute, and then they had another guitar player, and then he left, and then came me, and then Pat came back a couple of years later.
Right, so Pat just sort of went from Nirvana and just sort of went over to Foo Fighters, right?
Yeah.
Early on. How big a space is there between Nirvana? Did it go right to Foo Fighters, or did it take a couple of years off in there?
No, I think Dave recorded that album, I want to say at some point in 94, maybe, but I don't think, but it wasn't I think I don't remember, he'd have to tell you himself, but I think it was more, he was thinking of it like a demo, it's recorded on used tape and stuff, and it's just him playing everything, and then I think that the album came out in 95, and he sort of put a band together after he had made it.
Yeah, because Cobain was April 94 or somewhere.
Yes. But you got to understand, Dave was he had been writing songs and recording songs for a long time before that.
Right.
It's gonna be like a side project.
So it wasn't I remember at the time I thought Nirvana imploded, and then he just picked up a guitar and wrote all these songs and did it. But he was actually a guitar player before he was a drummer.
First off, it's always that. It's never, we always do the simple way of doing it, or he didn't do this and then that.
He woke up the next day, big star.
Yeah, it's no, it's this way.
Brewing.
And by the way, if it was the other way, we wouldn't be still talking about the Foo Fighters 25 years on.
Right.
Plus. Right. Now, Jesus Christ. Howie is very much into residential real estate, and he builds houses and buys houses and flips houses and always has a project going on. It's not something you think about with him, but he's deep into it because I was an ex-builder, so every time we hang out, he's always talking about this project and that project.